Chair Powell, you've had a busy year, and I'm wondering, as you look back, what things you might have done differently, and whether there are any lessons that you would take into next year.
Well, I have to say my total focus is on right now and getting policy right and thinking about next year, thinking about what's the economy going to be doing. I like where we are in policy. As I mentioned, I think our policy stance is appropriate and likely to remain so, as long as the outlook is broadly like this. It's too long of a question. I don't know how to get after that. There's a lot of learning that comes into from the economy every year, and in the way we do our jobs, and we're always going to be trying to learn lessons.
Are there any particular surprises, whether it's the economy or how markets or financial things?
Well, I didn't obviously, didn't see it. I don't think anybody saw coming the challenges that we faced this year. I think they were a surprise. I think toward the end of 2018, there was still a sense the economy was growing at around 3%, and didn't expect to face the challenges. But I think we did face them, and I think I'm pleased that we moved to support the economy in the way that we did. I think our moves will prove appropriate, and again, I think both the economy and monetary policy right now, I think, are in a good place.
Nancy Marshall-Genzer from Marketplace. Chair Powell, why aren't we seeing stronger wage gains? Wages are growing more slowly now than they were toward the beginning of the year. Why is that?
Well, wage gains have moved up a bit. If you look back 3-4 years, you'll see wages were growing around 2%. Now you see them moving up, more at 3.5%. So why aren't they growing higher at a faster rate? And it's a couple of things. I think there are a range of explanations. One would be that productivity has just been low. So wages should go up to cover inflation and productivity. Productivity has been low, and that is very likely to be holding back wages. I also think there are other possible potential explanations, such as globalization can be the idea that you can manufacture or even provide services anywhere in the world to anywhere in the world. I think that hangs over the wage setting process and everywhere pretty much. You don't see there isn't the kind of traction in the wage market that even in a tight labor market. Another thing is, though, that the labor market may not be as tight as we had thought it was, I think there are many possible explanations. I will say, though, if you look for example at non-supervisory employees in the labor report, their wages are going up at 3.7%, and so you do see, and wages are going up the most for people at the lower end of the. That's been true for the last couple of years, lower end of the wage spectrum. So you do see wages moving up. They're not moving up at very high rates, and again, at the end of the day, that probably has most to do with productivity.
Just as far as the market not being as tight as you thought, are you saying there are still more people on the sidelines who could join the labor force?
Yes, and I would also say that if you ask people, and we did ask people, what do you think the natural rate of unemployment is? People were writing down numbers in the 5s, and then they were writing down numbers in the 4s, and now unemployment's been in the 3s for a year and a half, and we still see wage inflation, as you mentioned. The level of wage inflation has actually moved down, although there may be compositional effects in that number. That may be to some extent about younger workers coming in at lower wages than retiring workers. But that shouldn't have much of an effect, actually. So why is that? It may just be that there's more slack in the economy, and I think we are seeing that. We're seeing really it showed up through higher participation. For many years, we've thought that there's a trend decline in participation. Notwithstanding that, against that trend, we've seen prime age participation moving up pretty steadily over the last 2 or 3 years. And that's a very positive thing, but it does sort of provide more labor supply.